I did a personal study once. I'd been in India maybe a year and a half or so, and I had been so touched by what I saw in Indian culture of the real success, the real inner connection, the real emphasis on spirituality, on God, on divine connection, on service, on love. When I was back in America, I conducted this study, and the study was that I asked about 10 different people I knew, each of whom was at a personal level of great success in a whole bunch of different fields. So the CEO of a major billion-dollar company, a tenured professor at Stanford, a well-known Hollywood actress, a singer with songs in the top 10, a person who played basketball for the LA Lakers. You know, all of the different fields. Business, finance, Hollywood, academia, sports. And I asked each of them, I called them up, some on the phone, some I met with them. And in the midst of our conversation, just chatting, how are you, how is everything, nice to see you. In the midst of that, I asked them all one question. And the question was, are you happy? And that was my study. And what I got back from every one of them was either I will be happy when. And of course, they had different fill in the blanks, and it was everything ranging from the kids finally go off to college to I finally get this raise, or I finally get the promotion, I finally lose the weight, my husband finally gets the promotion, or I would be happy if the kids would only clean up their room, my husband would work less, there weren't so much traffic. Whatever it was, but every single one of them, people who had reached the absolute pinnacle of what the rest of the world is killing themselves to get to. And they were still one thing away from happiness. And this is what happens to us. When we go this route to get here, there's always something still between us and the goal. There's actually many things, but in our mind, we always think it's just one thing. Then, of course, we get that, and then it's one more thing. Just I have to get this degree, then okay, just I have to get that job, then okay, just this promotion, then okay, I have to reach here. This much acclaim, this much renown. I have to reach that level. Utilize this amount of my skills, then I'll be happy. But when we keep going at it from that way, there's always one thing between us and real happiness, which is the real success. That's the whole point. And so as you're here, as you're thinking about this, as you're having the retreat on it, see whether you can shift your definition of success in your own mind to what's the shortest route to actually where I want to go. And the last point I want to mention on this, just for clarification's sake, is there's a very big difference between the happiness I'm talking about and the decadence or hedonism or numbness of eat, drink, and be merry. The shortest distance for some people in happiness may be a couple of shots of alcohol or some drugs or a one-night stand, or, I mean, there's really short distances for some people for what they identify as happiness. But that's not the happiness we're talking about, because it doesn't last very long. You have to keep doing it. And it's a happiness that actually takes you out of yourself, not into yourself. That's a happiness that's, oh, great, for 6 hours I didn't think about the hell that my life has become. Oh, great, for that one day or one night I didn't remember the pain that I'm living. That's not happiness. That's escapism, that's denial, that's numbness. Do it too frequently, that becomes addiction. When we're really talking about happiness, what we're talking about is the state in which we sit with our eyes closed, with our eyes open, on the banks of Ganga, somewhere else. And in that space, we're actually able to experience joy. We don't need a funny movie to be on. We don't need a drink in our hands. We don't need to be working on something that somebody then is going to approve and then we become successful. But just with where we are in that moment, we're actually able to experience joy and gratitude. That sustained level of happiness, the happiness that doesn't go up and down based on traffic patterns or weather patterns or stock market patterns, doesn't mean that we're indifferent to the world, but it just means that our core level of inner peace is consistent. And the shortest route to that is our spiritual practice. So when that becomes our focus, and the job becomes what we do the rest of the time, rather than vice versa, that's when we really attain success. Not through where we get with our careers. Remember that what I was saying is it all has to do with what we are looking for through the success. So if for you, through the success, rather than just, okay, I'm going to attain this level, then people will love me, or then I will be able to finally retire and have my spiritual practice. If instead of that, through the success, what you're looking at is, I'll be able to serve and give, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's a way in which, again, through the success, because then what I would say to you is, okay, and through the giving and serving, why give and serve? Because it makes me happy. But on a deep level, on the real fulfillment of the core of who I am level. And that's the point. And that's even a higher level of what we're looking for through the success, because then it's not just I become happy through taking walks and being with my family and enjoying my life, but I become happy through the service of others, which is what we'll call a higher level of happiness. So utilizing, then again though, the job is still, as I was saying, it's a means to an end. It's not this success in and of itself is going to make me happy. But through this, I become able to serve. That's the whole point of our lives. When we talk about spiritual practice, it doesn't involve, when we talk about, finally being able to have more time to do our spiritual practice, I don't mean just, I'm going to sit with my eyes closed and meditate. For all of us, spiritual practice means service. One of Puja Swamiji's most fundamental teachings is that there really isn't a line between seva and sadhana. It's not, here's your seva over here, here's your sadhana over there. Rather, the most natural outcome of the sadhana is the seva, because through the sadhana, we experience a oneness with all of creation. And through the experience of the oneness with all of creation, we serve. It's not, we serve because that's the right thing to do, and then over here is the sadhana. No, it's the fruit of the sadhana, the result of the sadhana, is the experience of connection. And when you experience that connection, then the most natural thing you do is serve. You know, the example that I always give about this is if I hurt my right leg, my left leg picks up the extra weight. We call it limping. But what it's doing is taking on the extra burden. It understands that the right leg is injured, but more importantly, it understands that the right leg is self. And it serves because it's serving the self. And that's ultimately the highest level of service. And so if through my job, if I'm doing my job with the awareness and the concept that this is my duty so that I can serve myself in all of creation, then the work itself becomes meditation. Then there's no distinction between your work and your spiritual practice. The work is the spiritual practice because every bit of it is surrendered to the divine. Because then all of the fruit, it's not about who loves what. It's not about your name. It's about who gets helped. And that's the highest level. So yes, absolutely, it's a beautiful, beautiful way.